I had a conversation with someone about when you meet the counterfeit, and I wanted to be very honest and blunt with the way that I was choosing my words, but in the same sense, I wanted to make sure that I left valuable gems of analogies of information and knowledge so that she would be able to come back to it and come back to the thought. So whatever her emotion was at that time, when as I was giving her the information, or I'm gonna say giving her information, as I was giving her some type of knowledge, some type of advice, some type of something, some just that she would be able to, I don't know, you sitting and washing dishes, the thought of the conversation pops back in your head and rethink about the analogies over and over again, or a part of it may just peek up in her head and she's about to get in the shower, or she's going to go, I don't know, clean the floors or whatever. In the process, it's those moments when you drop some knowledge with someone and it comes back to just kind of tap them on the shoulder, like the image or the voice, or just a moment of that part of the conversation. But coming out of a breakup, especially when you've invested years into it, is very difficult, because you share something with someone and it's hard. So when others are fully aware of what happened, you have to have, you have a tendency of putting a straight face on, full straight up armor, like not showing any emotion, because you don't know what someone's going to say to you, especially family or someone's close to you. They feel the need, they can say whatever they want to you and don't really care about your feelings. So it's very mindful with my choice of words. And what I said to her was, so now you dealt with the counterfeit, and now you're ready for what's really supposed to be for you. What's really for you, not supposed to be for you. I didn't say that. I said what's really for you. And don't worry anymore. Even though she reassured me that she wasn't worrying, but this morning when I woke up, that's all I kept hearing in my head. But don't worry. You may think that you're behind, or you had this idea of what was supposed to be and all this other stuff, but you had an opportunity to deal with the counterfeit for a certain amount of time, and it wasn't like a gazillion years. It wasn't an invested family and children. You got that out of the system early. You can learn a lot from the counterfeit. And the fact that your counterfeit came so early and you don't have any attachments or anything to that counterfeit, that's a little bit of a blessing. But I didn't indulge in that part. I just told her that you got to deal with the counterfeit. So now which basically is your test. So the test is over. The counterfeit is gone. The counterfeit doesn't have any attachment to you with assets and children and all this other stuff. Your test is over. So now you have to show up for what is for you, because God can't give you your other half. He can't give you your counterpart if you're not showing up as your counterpart. You have to show up as your mirror image, and he can't give you that, because that's not fair to his child, or to her child. Well, no, to his child. Either it's a man or a woman. It's not fair, because at the end of the day, you got to be ready. You dealt with the counterfeit that did not last. Your energy was too true and blue, and that is what it is. Now you get to have exactly what he has designed for you. But you can't focus on the attention of, well, this happened in the past, and this is what's going on, and this happened, and maybe I'm not this, or maybe I'm not. No. Mm-mm. You want somebody that's on your level. You want somebody that can match your light. You want somebody that is evenly yoked. You have to show up exactly for what you want in this world. So you have to show up as your counterpart. And once you shine on that level, once you achieve that level of brightness, luminosity, you then are going to attract your counterpart to you. God can then literally sign, seal, delivered, like here it is for you on your door. Like, you have to match that. And when I explained to her, I was like, I'm pretty sure there are moments where you felt that y'all was not evenly yoked. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, there's plenty. I was like, because it was a counterfeit. I was like, I knew it was a counterfeit, but I can't say anything to you. You have to go through the test. You got to go through the lesson. And yeah, it hurts. Yeah, all of this stuff. But the more you dwell on that, the more time you're wasting for you to be able to receive your counterfeit. Now, it took me some time to learn these things. It took me some time to actually be able to see this. I had to go through some crazy lessons because I didn't have nobody telling me this, but I feel like that's how life is. Like I said to my sister earlier today, sometimes we have to go through certain things so that it's better for the children that are coming behind us. It's better for the offspring. It's better for the next generation. And it may not be easy, but it's gonna help the lineage in the long run. So if we have to suffer and endure some stuff, it's gonna be what's best for the family. But I also explained to her, I spoke to her about, once she understood where I was coming from, not my sister, but when I was, let me get back to what I was originally talking about. When she's talking about with the counterfeit, and the once she saw what I was cooking up, or I say cooking up. Once she saw the message that I was delivering to her, she then got it. Like, oh, like, it's not me throwing shade. It's not me doing anything negative. I don't even know if she was thinking that, but it's more so me trying to explain to her, like, well, not explain, but share with her that you had to go through that so that you can be prepared for what's to come. And I can feel her energy being lifted up, because it was very tight and like very shielded, as if I was going to say something wild to her. So I don't know who said whatever to her, but yeah, the counterfeit, in order for her to receive the counterpart, so. But also explain to her about, because I had just started watching Power, and I know I'm like 80 years later, but 100 years later, right, in SpongeBob. But I had said to her, I couldn't understand that this man left a penthouse, 3 children, and a wife to go live in a small 1-bedroom apartment with another woman. So, and she was like, and I was like, yeah. And then I said, oh, and I said, and then he left his best friend behind. They grew up together. I said, he just left everyone. And she's like, And then I said, but wait a minute. I had to look at it again from his eyes. And she goes, huh? I was like, yeah. I say, as the viewer, you're looking at it like, he left everybody. He just literally just faded out, didn't want to have anything to do with anyone. I say, but no. I say, we always say men are famous for, let me say, I hope I'm saying this word correctly, compartmentalization, right? Compartmentalization, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Compartmentalizing, right? Is that a word? Let me look it up. But yes, I know it's a word, but I'm like, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. So they are famous for that. And so she laughed, and I was like, yeah, because they're famous for that. And compartmentalize means to divide something into separate sections or categories, right? To separate into isolated compartments or categories, right? So that's what he did. He separated everything, divided it up, and decided to deal with it in that sense, right? So by the protagonist, the star of the show, the person who the show was about, he decided to walk away from his old life. And that's what I said to her. I said, he warned all of them that he didn't want to continue to live the lifestyle that he was living before. He wanted a clean, new lifestyle. He he rebranded himself. He already was on the verge of rebranding himself, and he was getting everything situated for all of them because they were his team. And it goes back to my first little video I had did earlier, but they were all part of his team, and he let them know what he was interested in. And he didn't sit down and say, okay, here's the business plan, here's the game plan, this is what I'm doing. No, he introduced it to them in conversation, each individual, the best friend and the wife. No one wanted that. Those two who were his right hand and his left hand, they didn't want that. They didn't want that. They wanted to keep it what they already had been doing since they were kids. They wanted to keep doing what they had been doing already before. And he wanted a clean lifestyle. He didn't want to live that type of lifestyle anymore. He wanted to be considered for what he was, not only by the streets, but actually in the business field. And they didn't want that. So, and like I had said to her, I said, we can say that he compartmentalized what they always do, but he did compartmentalize, but at the same time, he knew that he was rebranding himself. He knew that he wanted a new life, and they didn't want that. And he explained to them that this is what he wanted to do. But once he got everything situated, he walked away. I was thinking, you got to ask yourself that sometimes. Was I part of what he wanted for his new life? And like I had said to her, so when I look back at my situation with my ex, I believe this man also wanted a different lifestyle, and he wanted to bring that new life into fruition. But was I a part of that new brand? Was I a part of that rebranding? Was I a part of that design? Do I fit into what he ideally had wanted for himself? And when I said that, when I had explained that to her about with the show, I said, we get so upset with these men when they do stuff like that, and how easy it is for them to move on so quickly. But we have to ask ourselves, it's abruptly, but at the same time, it makes sense. Because if you look at it in a business term, a brand is not going to sit here and say, okay, we're really sorry that this isn't working out because, you don't fit the look that we have going now. You don't fit the new aesthetic for this company or for this brand. No, they're just going to let you go. They can let you go with some parting gifts, or they can just let you go with no parting gifts. And I believe what happens at times is that these men, they are natural born leaders, some of them. And it just, especially when you approach a businessman, as in the film, in the show, in the series, that's what he was. If you're not a part of that new aesthetic, if you're not a part of that lifestyle, and I explained to her, even when he was trying to get the wife to dress a certain way, like, you're not going to the club, you are the club owner. Like, you have to dress a certain way, you have to carry yourself a certain way. So it goes back to when I said to her, become what it is that you want to attract. Don't focus on what didn't work out in the past. Find a way to learn from that, get back up and move forward, and learn how fast that they're able to rebrand themselves. Learn how fast they're able to compartmentalize exactly what they want, and they move forward in that. And be okay with the fact that you don't fit into that aesthetic, because that wasn't for you, and that's okay. And she was quiet, but I believe, she got where I was going with it. And it took some time for me to see that myself. And, we spoke about what it's like to be alone now. And there's so many things that I was like, yeah, you don't notice it because you're with somebody, you're tied up to someone. And it goes back to the show. She didn't even know what she liked in the show anymore, because she was so used to being told what she liked, because she was with somebody since she was young for so long. And now, because the husband decided to make that decision, everybody has to follow along what he wants. If the children has to come and stay in a 1-bedroom apartment with him and his lady, then the kids have to come and stay in a 1-bedroom apartment with him and his lady. If she now in an empty penthouse by herself, then she's in an empty penthouse by herself. I feel like sometimes as females, we get so caught up in being... I was just watching a cat video, and the man was talking to one cat who was sitting at the top, and he just was looking at him. He didn't say much. The other cat was sitting at the bottom, like near his foot, near his feet, just playing near his feet, laying near his feet. Almost every video I've seen of this family, the man's always talking to his cat in such a serious, conversation. It's beautiful, it's funny, it's amazing, because you gotta love your pets, but your fur babies. But at the same time, this cat is just sitting at the top part of the chair, and like up on the top part of the pillows, and the the man is just sitting, normally on a chair, but he's filming the cat. He's talking to the cat's giving him facial expressions. He then goes back down to look at the cat on the floor, who's always playing by his feet or rubbing up against the chair or whatever, but he's always at the bottom some type of way. He's either sitting next to him on his level, or he's mainly on the floor by his feet. And he has said, which caught my eye, when he was talking to the cat about food, and he's like, you threw that food up, and whatever the case may be, and you had overate, so which means I think you got someone else to feed you. I'm getting to a point. But when he looked back at the cat on the floor, he goes to touch her. He goes, she's such a great mom. She's such a great mother cat, because even if the other cats come over and they want her food, she walks away and makes sure to and allow them to eat as much food as they want. She's just so sweet, and she's so motherly. And I looked at that and I was just like, as women, we get caught up in this role of thinking that we always have to put everyone else before us. And here it is. I know it's just two cats and a man, but the way that he was able to refer to her, there was no kittens around. She didn't give birth to any kittens. They were full grown cats. And the other cat that was sitting on top of the chair was a female cat too. But the fact that they get so caught up with the fact of thinking, because you're so willing to sacrifice all the time, every time, and every given moment, that makes you a good mother, that makes you a good woman. And I feel that sometimes we don't need to always have to play these roles, these gender roles 24/7, because if we're able to go into a situation, assess the situation, and see that we have to learn how to compartmentalize the situation as these men do, then we're better off. I'm not saying go out and do such negative, hard things to anybody. I'm just saying start trying to shift your gears a little bit to see why they're able to do what they're able to do. I had a conversation with my uncle like a year or so ago about this, and I asked him, I was like, how did you know that you had to leave your wife for this woman that you're with now? Like, how? And he said, you just know. And then I asked him, I said, well, you don't care? And he's like, you always care. But I said, and then you have children with her, but you don't have no children with this one. And he's just like, you just know. And once you know, Marque, you just know. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's over. So I believe women, I don't want to just say only women, I believe individuals sometimes get so attached emotionally, and I feel like we need to learn how to detach in situations, and we need to learn how to actually focus on compartmentalizing a situation and assessing it sometimes almost like a business deal. Is this going to better me in the long run? Am I wasting time, valuable time? And if I make this decision, what's going to happen next? And usually what's going to happen next is everyone has to follow along with your decision. I feel that when I look at that, even when his friend was supposedly low-key trying to, off him or whatever, he couldn't do it. And that friend is the wild one, because he loves his friend. And granted, I mean, the man moved in some suspicious ways, but I feel like he seed himself as a businessman first in any and every situation. I don't think he saw himself or identified himself as a husband or a father. I think first he's a businessman. And I think when you look at life almost in a business asset, you're not focused on how someone's going to feel a majority of the time. You're focusing on what's betterment for the brand, what's betterment for the business. And I think sometimes it's okay to separate from a situation, detach from a situation, in order to have a better decision for a better outcome. And I guess what I'm kind of saying is, don't feel the need to always move in a sense of being the martyr or being the sacrificial lamb, but in a sense of compartmentalization and really assessing your goals and what you want for yourself in the future. Because at the end of the day, you could find yourself in a situation like I'm in a situation now where I should have been way ahead of my game, but I'm not. So, like I said to her, you gotta get over that energy. I'm gonna say get over it, but you gotta heal from it. Heal from what had happened in order for you to be able to welcome in something amazing that's coming your way. Because usually when you go through these type of things, so many blessings are coming because you went through it. You know, you were able to endure something, you learned something, you gave something, you went into something with full love and full intention and open heart, and like clouds in your eyes and stars in your eyes, and you were able to have an open heart to love someone, and it did not work out, which is fine. But now you can really sit down and assess exactly what it is that you want for your life. What do you want your love life to look like? What do you want what do you want your home to look like? What is it that you want to do for a business, or as when it comes to your education, or it comes to any form of success within your within your eye frame of what your ideal frame of what you want. Now you can set it down and you can pray on it, and go to God about it, and y'all can co-create on something so amazing, so dope for you. Because now he saw that you were able to survive and endure and have an open heart to deal with the counterfeit, and now for you to be able to open your heart back up again to be able to welcome in what he has for you as a blessing. And also learning about compartmentalization, and how it's not cold, it's not cold, it's not selfish. It's just, you warn people, you connect with people, you let people know what you want. And if they don't want that, then there's no need to hold up the energy, there's no need to hold up the line. Both of y'all will be better off going your separate ways in order so that y'all can have ideally what you want. And there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with him. It's just that y'all want two different things, and people grow apart over time. And even if they don't grow apart, some people, it's like when you go to college and they're like, oh, you go to college and you have this major, and they say you go to school to find out what you don't want to do. So that's how I look at it sometimes. Don't be so quick to feel that you're in the wrong, or to feel that this pain is going to last forever. Just become what it is that you want, so it can actually show up even quicker. But I love you. You got this, and get back up and keep on going.